Biden preaches patience to voters spooked by economic tumult. Biden preaches patience to voters spooked by economic tumult. Biden preaches patience to voters spooked by economic tumult. Biden preaches patience to voters spooked by economic tumult. We're not going to focus on tumult. We're going to focus on preaches and spooked. So I'll tell you now, tumult is difficulty, challenge, troubling time. So economic tumult would mean economic difficulty or challenge, which, of course, I'm doing this on October of 2022. Probably most people who listen to this will be experiencing some economic difficulty. And if you're not, well, good for you. So again, the headline, Biden preaches patience to voters spooked by economic tumult. Preaches to preach. What is Biden doing? He's preaching patience, and he's preaching patience to voters who are spooked by economic difficulty or tumult. So also, what does it mean to be spooked? Here's the story from AP. Josh Boak, not sure how to pronounce that, Boak, B-O-A-K, and Zeke Miller from Washington. Unsurprisingly, Biden speaks. He's in Washington. When it comes to reassuring Americans about an economy that's an election year challenge for his party, President Joe Biden is telling the country to hold on. It's a message of patience as voters are buffeted by persistent inflation, fears of a recession, and the prospect or possibility of rising energy prices in the closing weeks of the campaign season, when they, the voters, will determine the fate of vulnerable Democrats and control of Congress. The 25 trillion plus economy is veering or heading in the direction in two radically different directions. So back to our headline, Biden preaches patience to voters spooked by economic tumult. One more time, more naturally. Biden preaches patience to voters spooked by economic tumult. Again, we're not going to focus on tumult. That means challenge or difficulty or bad times. But preaches. What is Biden doing? He's preaching patience. What could to preach mean? And also voters who are spooked by economic tumult. What could that mean, to be spooked? We're back for our second segment. The headline was Biden preaches patience to voters spooked by economic tumult. Biden preaches patience to voters spooked by economic tumult. Here's a reminder, too, because these headlines, sometimes they just use some language that we just don't commonly use in spoken English, right? So we'll go over some words here, at least one. For example, tumult, T-U-M-U-L-T. We'll go over or review the meaning, but don't be intimidated by these strange words. It's helpful for us to sometimes learn or look at one of these words or a difficult, even uncommon word, because it will make some of the other options more obvious and familiar, right? So when we review a word and you go, woof, I can never use that. Don't worry. You don't need to. We don't. I don't. I don't use this word tumult, but it helps you. It helps me even too to remember what the other options are, the common options, the alternatives. And when I say alternatives, I mean the commonly used words, right? So don't be so intimidated when you come across or experience or hear or read a word that you just don't really know and that you also feel like, oof, I'm never going to use that. I'll tell you as well. Like, hey, we don't use this word. But there are other words that you might be more familiar with, or even some common words that you've heard that you forget or don't use, that you can go, okay, yeah, I know that. I can start using that word. Or you might start seeing these other options more often and go, okay, I'm familiar with these words already. So let's crack into it. Let's get going. Again, Biden preaches patience to voters, spooked by economic tumult. The word we focused on in the first segment, before and after reading the first few sentences, preaches, to preach. Preach, like peach, but with an R, to preach. And I don't know if you took time to wonder or think about what this word could mean. A president or politician preaching about some topic, preaching about patience. Hey, wait, hold on. Or a preacher, right? A preacher is a pastor, a religious leader. And if you go to church, any church, if you go to a mosque, if you're a Muslim, if you're even a Buddhist, if you're someone who listens to religious leaders, they preach about things. They preach about virtues and vices, good things and bad things, do's and don'ts. Stay away from this. Stay away from that. Start practicing this. Coaches preach. Right? We don't use that word so much in coaching, but coaching is preaching about values and about habits. So to preach is to go on and on about some topic, usually telling people what to do or think about something. So teachers, right? Teachers teach. They also preach. Parents preach about things. Hey, be careful when you go outside at night. Hey, you should watch what you eat. Doctors preach about your routines and habits that you should change, things that you should be worried about or concerned about. So preaching is, again, when someone goes on and on about some topic, usually telling people what to do or think about something. So what else do we have here? Spooked in this headline, spooked. You might have heard the word spooky. It's October 24th as I'm recording this. It's almost Halloween. There will be lots of spooky decorations in stores and spooky films and series on Netflix, right? Spooky, or we'll do spooky, is scary. So to be spooked, the headline doesn't have to be, it should, right? In the intro to these, you hear me talk about that headlines have bad grammar. Intentionally, they don't use articles, the or a. They don't use to be a lot because they're saving space on whatever website or page that you visit. They're saving space. So voters are spooked by economic tumult. They're scared, asustado. Tumult. Now we're at the last word of the headline before we do some of the other various words in the 3 sentences I read. Tumult, difficulty, bad time, a problematic period. So this is tumulto, right? You have this word even in Portuguese. I don't know if you use this in Portuguese, but in English we don't use it so much. Us common people, we're not talking about our tumults. What's did you have a tumultuous weekend? No. Oh man, I lost my job. I'm experiencing tumult. No, we say hardship, difficulty, rough, right? It's been a rough week, not a tumultuous week. It's been a rough, ROUGH. It's been a rough week, a difficult week. Yeah, we're not using this word so much. But the other options, right? Those are very common. You should be familiar with difficult, rough. Again, the spelling ROUGH, not rough, rough, like a dog, RUFF. Same pronunciation. Buffeted. Where is this? This is the second sentence here. The second sentence. It's a message of patience as voters are buffeted by persistent inflation, and they list some other things, but buffeted, BUFFETED, so like buffet with an ED, and it does not mean it does not has nothing to do with, it's not related to a buffet, unfortunately. So to be buffeted is to be troubled, distressed, afflicted. Angustiado, I think maybe that's the word in Portuguese. Angustiada, aflito. São aflitados, aflitos. I'm not sure exactly the grammar if I'm destroying the Portuguese version here, but voters are buffeted or troubled by persistent inflation, fears of a recession, and the prospect of rising energy prices. So, inflation, recession, rising energy prices. Those are things that are troubling or distressing, afflicting the voters that Biden is preaching to. And again, what is he preaching? Patience. Hold on. Hold on. Not yet. Don't judge me yet. Don't judge me yet. Look at these bad things: inflation, recession, gas prices are going up, electricity. Wait. Not yet. Hold on. Some of these things are out of my control is kind of the message. So I think that's all I read. I don't think I read any more here, but any more doubts? To hold on. I just use this phrasal verb, to hold on. That means not yet. Wait. We use this phrasal verb all the time. Hey, hold on. I need to tie my shoes. Hey, hold on. I'm not ready. Hey, can you hold on a minute? I need to talk to my professor. Yeah, we'll hold on. No worries. Hold on. We'll wait. So to wait, to hold on. Questions now. I have a few. Number one, do you ever trust a politician when he or she or they tell you to hold on? Do you ever trust a politician when they tell you to hold on? Joe Biden is a politician. Politicians frequently, always, are trying to continue their life in politics. Some of them, want to help the country, yeah, okay, or the city, or the region, the people. But we're not so naive. We understand it's a profession as much as it's a job, as much as it is a public office. So keeping that in mind, do you ever trust a politician when they tell you to hold on? And if you do, when? When might you decide or trust a politician who tells you to hold on? Do I trust Joe Biden as we speak? This is an old headline, maybe a week or two, but do I trust Joe Biden when he tells me, an American voter, to hold on? There's a lot of inflation. Gas prices are going up. The recession could happen. Energy prices. But hold on. Vote for us again. That's a tough question. Depends on it. It depends. If he's talking about gas prices and there's a war happening in Ukraine and that affects the gas prices, yeah, okay, hold on. It's not really in his control, and there's a bigger picture than just the gas prices that someone might pay at the gas station. But it depends. If I were I don't drive a car. If I were driving a car to work every day, um, and I didn't have enough money to pay for gas. I don't have a car for that reason. But if I had a car and I needed a car and I needed low gas prices, would I trust him to when he tells me hold on? Eh, maybe not. But that doesn't necessarily mean the other party or the other dude or the other guy, other person could deliver something different without sacrificing some of the big picture, long term values and progress. So yeah, if someone is telling me, hey, we can lower gas prices immediately, that's a short term fix, and that's great. But what does that mean? That means in the U.S. at least, releasing more barrels of oil, which is bad for the environment. That's a big picture thing. It means possibly forcing Ukraine to fight a war without our help, being the United States, or forcing them to end the war. And that would send a terrible message to a tyrant and a dictator style leader in Putin, or Putin, as we say in California. And that's a big picture issue, right? You can't enable someone to be a bully, and not just, this is not a school bully. This is a nation bully, and people have been killed and murdered because of this person's desire for more money. So yeah, it depends. It depends. Inflation, no, yeah, usually never. Hold on, no. That's one thing I think that Democrats and Republicans are really not so interested in fixing for normal people. Um, and we'll see, right? Joe Biden now is trying to forgive debt, or jivida. I confused duvida and jivida, but I believe debt, money that you need to pay, is jivida. And yeah, okay, that's something for people. And a lot of Americans have student debt, or jivida, from university. A lot of it, we're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars for some individuals, tens of thousands of dollars for lots of individuals. That's helpful. But increasing interest rates, or juros, to take money from the bank when there are, for 2 years in a pandemic, record profits, record gains, CEOs, right, making more money than they have before the pandemic. Yeah, no. I think that I don't trust the message of hold on. So again, sorry for you can fast forward through these, right, these tangents and these little rants, we say desabafos. But let's go to question number 2. Where are we? Question number 2. Yeah, okay, here we go. This is a tough one in democracy. Question number 2. How long do you wait or hold on before you start to criticize someone you voted for? This is very uncomfortable for people in democracies. How long do you wait or hold on before you start to criticize someone that you voted for? And this is becoming less and less common, at least in the U.S., with Trump supporters, incapable of changing their mind or criticizing with integrity anything that the man has done, not even instigating a January 6th, 2020 insurrection, not even taking home nuclear secrets or top secret classified documents to his country club, putting them in a closet. Again, you can check the details here. I hope that you check what I'm saying. Never just believe someone podcasting in a closet with a towel over their head. That is the visual here. So please don't take my word for these things. You can Google them. Associated Press is where I get these headlines from. They're a very respectable and reliable publication. Reuters, and it's free too. AP is free. Reuters, Reuters. I believe that's not free anymore. I think that's maybe 10 free articles a month or something weird. BBC tends to be pretty good. It's a conservative publication in the UK. I'm not typically conservative. I trust their reporting. So yeah, there's not many I would tell you to go check, but Associated Press for now, I believe, is the least, or at least the most reliable and old. It's a very old publication. But so, how long do you wait or hold on before you start to criticize someone you voted for? In Brazil, I guess you can reflect on. We have Lula is back now as Lula isn't back running for president. Do you hear people criticizing him who had voted for him? People who voted for Bolsonaro, do you hear them criticizing him? And are the criticisms of and other offices, right? We can't just focus on the presidential elections, but you listening to me now, the one you, literally the unique, the only person listening to me. Who did you vote for? Who have you voted for in your life? And have you been critical? I'll criticize my first elected official, the President of the United States, Barack Obama. Voted for him twice. I'm very critical of him. And I'll give you one, not generally, too, specifically, 2008. The housing recession, the economic recession caused by a housing crisis. And again, the details here, I can't go too deep. That's not the point of these segments, these episodes. But you look on the internet, you tell me, did Barack Obama and his administration hold anyone accountable for the irresponsible behavior? Anyone? Yeah, it's an open-ended question. You can find the answer for yourself, hopefully, and respond to me with what you found. But very critical. No, he handled that. He lidó con eso. He handled this or that very poorly, and we're on track now in the United States for the same problem to happen again. The same thing. So, are you critical of people you have voted for? How long do you wait? How long do you hold on before you criticize people that you voted for? Number 3, our last question. The article mentions inflation, recession, and rising energy prices. How much articulable understanding do you have about these topics? Do you think any president really controls or impacts or influences these items? Now, controls and influences are different things, right? Controls and impacts are different things. These aren't synonyms. But the question is just for your reflection, and hopefully you can produce or give some feedback or some thoughtful English language response, even in writing, right? Or write it down and then record a response. But again, the article mentions inflation, recession, rising energy prices. Let's just say gas prices, right? Petrol for another word, right? In English even. How much articulable understanding do you have about these topics? An articulable understanding, entendimento articulável, meaning how much could you actually talk about the nature of these three things, and still make sense, without kind of confusing yourself or confusing the person listening to you, right? How much do you really understand these topics? They're common topics in election cycles, but I think most people don't really, politicians included, maybe, or maybe they intentionally understand that people don't really know how these things work. But people talk about these things a lot, and I'm not sure if there's dishonesty when talking about them, or confusion, or just complete or outright, misunderstanding or ignorance about these topics. So, how much do you understand those things? Inflation, recession, rising energy or gas or electricity prices. Do you think any president really controls or impacts or influences these items? That is the end of the segment. Thank you. And please, if you have any thoughts or reflections, put them in English somehow. It doesn't matter really where you start when you give or produce the English on these topics, right? It doesn't matter. It's important that you do something. Excuse me. That's a fine of $1 to the fine jar for a hiccup on the air. But it doesn't really matter where you start or how you put your initial thoughts into English about any of these topics. The important part is that you start and you produce something, and the more you do that, the bigger the sample size you have, the easier it will be, and the better you will get. So please give me something, anything. There we go.